Welcome to the latest episode of Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter, brought to you by Texas Bank. Coach, another week. Finally, the 3-game road trip is over.
Yeah.
But went over to Monahans, scored 37 in the first half on the way to a 50 to 13 wins. Talk to me a little bit about the game.
One came out healthy, again, which you just love, grateful. There's still, I think we can play a little crisper offensively, which we know we can. But we're close to firing on all cylinders. I know defensively, that's about as good as we can play. I think our ones played around 30 plays and around 40 yards. Just really, amazing stuff. And again, not that just right now those guys don't have a lot of pieces, necessarily to challenge it. No disrespect. But we're putting out 11 straight up dudes. And so
Right.
you better have plenty of dudes to challenge us. So, I thought we did a lot of things well. I mean, I definitely thought offensively the efficiency was overall much better.
Well, you mentioned defense, so let's talk about them first. Shut them out through 3 quarters. 13 points in that fourth quarter when y'all were backed off playing very conservatively and getting a lot of guys, rotating a lot of guys in there. But what an incredible game. Is this right? Did I read this right? 4 picks?
Yeah, we did. We had 4 turnovers, which is awesome. Yeah, and again, some of them. I mean, our kids were where we're supposed to be. Which a couple of those were gifts, which you'll take. But you always again turnovers. Nothing wins games more than that. Getting them or having them. Or nothing wins or loses games more. So it's always nice to be +4.
Yeah. I literally called the game, watched the whole game, and didn't even realize there was 4 picks until after the game when I looked at the stat sheet. 2 by Hagan Barbie. What a great job. And then King and both Kings.
Yeah, Levi.
Both Kings with a pick apiece. So.
And it probably, to be honest, held down our offensive yardage a little bit just because, we had such great field position, so many of those possessions, which again, that's great. Just you wouldn't mind a little more time to work on your execution.
As Hank Strand would say many, many years ago, matriculate the ball down the field a little more.
Exactly.
So, again, sticking with the defense for a moment, 9 tackles for loss, a couple of sacks, Dylan Sellers. What a great game. Another great game by him.
Hey, Dylan's been a monster, and again, we've talked about him before. Dylan's one of those kids. I wish I were doing that a couple of years ago. He is such a great play through contact. He's a better in the battle kid, than the space kid. And Dylan's an absolute monster. I mean, just getting better every day. His confidence is coming on. And, Dylan's one I know gets frustrated sometimes when we rotate him because he plays at such a high level. But again, Dylan is doing an absolutely rock solid job.
Yeah. And, Colin Garcia, a couple of tackles for loss, 7 total tackles. Great game by him as well.
Yeah, for sure. We got him a few snaps there in the first half, which he did great. And then, he was in got plenty of playing time in the second half. And again, the one thing about those games you like is, man, all those kids were just in this nice cool weather we got today, and they all deserve time when you can get them time, so it sure is nice. And after the game, just everybody got to contribute, everybody, was a little wore out and stuff like that. So that's one positive on some of those games like that.
Right. And then, of course, Jacob Braden, I feel like we're mentioning his name every week, 9 total tackles. What a great game by Jacob.
Dude, Jacob's getting more and more locked in. Completely, I think, understands that scheme and what we're doing. He's definitely the kid that, calls our strengths and calls our checks. And, a lot of times your goal is you want to go home Tuesday and you think your kids are very straight on all your checks. Man, I really think Jacob normally takes the field Monday. As long as we show the formation correctly on the scout side, just he is a landing on that side of the ball. He's your cerebral, you're very composed. Dude, and yeah, he's a real dude.
Yeah. Yeah, let's switch for just a moment. Talk about both lines. I know we've talked about him a lot, and I tried to give him a shout out, the O-line this week on the broadcast, but it was just offensively, they're just knocking guys off the ball, keeping Landon clean, and defensively, nothing but continuous pressure.
Yeah. We'll start on the O-line. Again, it's Will Aldridge, Bane Jinsky, Reed Bowler, Rylan Scandalari, or it's Gage Jacoby and Willer Flip. But, just 5 dudes playing absolute monsters. They, again, second year of the scheme, they totally, I think, know everything that Coach Williams talks about in the checks. And, yeah, again, Landon, other than when he ran, could have played without equipment, the other night. And in that D-line, we kind of rotate some of those DTs. It's Benny Branch, Cohen Braden, Alex Samaniago, and Mason Steen are your biggest 4 inside. They're just absolutely playing lights out. And, they kind of hold each other to a good standard because when you show clips of them, this one's doing it right. I definitely think it makes them, oh, dang, I think it makes them fit and beat blocks the same way and correct, which they are doing. I mean, that defense is really playing at a high level. Then you have Sellers, Ben Taylor, and Cade McFarden getting the biggest chunk of that defensive end. All those dudes are playing awesome. So good stuff.
And myself and Rob Ray, who were on the call this past weekend, we mentioned that defensive, that front four is keeping the linebackers clean.
Another caught.
Thank you. They're keeping those linebackers clean.
Hey, it's all about that rope did and that scheme. No, one, they're getting great pressure. We got 2 sacks with our 3-man rush. That's incredible. But dude, they're letting those backers have pass to the ball and things. And I mean, just playing again. I'm not worried, but you kind of keep building, and I hope in the near future that we have some of these opponents that make us, that see mistakes we make, or that take advantage of some things, because there's going to be teams eventually that that scout us and try to pick us apart. So I hope we're getting prepared as we go.
Yeah, we were talking, myself and Rob again, we're talking on the broadcast talking about the offensive side of the ball. We were wondering just how much, and you don't have to answer this, so this is not a question, how much have you held in reserve and not shown on tape?
That's something that coaches, I know me and Alondra home talking a lot. You're leery of it, but you definitely, I want to work on our stuff. Now that there's certain teams that we may choose to play way more or less aggressive, depending. Do we think we need to force that quarterback to make mistakes, or do we think he's going to make enough on his own? And again, when I call defense, I'm calling against that play caller and that quarterback. I mean, it's really that simple of a game for me. And when I break down film, it's how much do I think that kid can hurt me? What throws do they ask that kid to make, and can he make? And again, I know Coach Launderholm, because we visit. There's definitely things we talk about. Hey, look, I'm going to show this at some point. But that you haven't shown yet.
Yeah. No. What an incredible performance though. On that O side, Landon York again, 19 of 30, 280 yards, five touchdowns, no picks. What a great job by Landon.
Just again 5 touchdowns in a ball game, and really probably. I think that was first half.
Yes,
I guess we gave him one drive, second half, and again, just, those weapons, that protection, that scheme, credit to Landon and all those kids and those offensive coaches, because, boy, they're getting the ball to those kids in space, and we're letting those kids make plays on the perimeter, and they can. I'll tell you what I love, most coaches before the game have been like, Coach, we're not excited to play this game necessarily, but we're kind of excited to be able to see it in person. And you love after the game, the handshake is like, man, Coach, y'all are where I was worried you would be, and talking about the size and the speed, and the bind we can put people in, we're excited with where we're going to.
Yeah. I'll say this, and we kind of mentioned off the air, we didn't say it on the air, but I'll say it now. A lot of people might say, well, you look at the level of competition, but here's the deal. You cannot, as a coach, predict how Monahans is going to be this year. You can't predict how Jim Ned's going to be. You got to play who's on the field, who's on the schedule.
You can't, that it's a 2-year schedule. So last year when I put this schedule together, dude, I was worried I scheduled myself out of a job. Right. Because those guys, I can't remember if they were like 59-12 or something. Those 6 opponents. Well, and again, no disrespect to any of those programs. Just it's been a weird year where we're up here again. And some of those guys are, they just don't quite have the same players they've had. Yeah, believe me, I wish we'd get pushed to the max, because that's at some point you're going to. It's just, you can't predict it. It's a 2-year deal.
Yep.
When you put Jim Ned and Brownwood and Monahans and Idlewood, those are great Copeland. And so, it's not like that you're, Mason, it's Sweetwater. It's not like, oh man, who are these guys? Those are storied programs. And, it just, overall, so far, it just hasn't been the strongest group of teams. Right. We're getting as prepared as we can as we go.
Monahans was playoff team last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Monahans went 31-9 last 3. And it's just that they're definitely in a little different spot this year. And again, all you can do is go play and play solid and turn them over and beat the crud out of somebody. And and again, I thought we played a clean game.
Yeah. And then again, Brady Neal running the ball, just 12 carries, 67 yards overall, 23 carries, 166 yards as a team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys touched the ball.
No, I didn't realize that. I know that's, and again, you love that for your team, for your kids, because it's still your scheme and plays and spacing and timing and again, and credit to all the kids, man. They're playing solid football.
Right. And then of course, catching the ball. Again, Reed Robertson had 118 yards on 6 carries, couple of touchdowns. Kellen Oliver, again, great game, 4 catches, 2 touchdowns. Evan Bailey, 3 catches, 48 yards. So
Jagger had a nice touchdown.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, where was it? Where was I at? Kellen, not the best game or not the most productive game. And Jagger Thompson had that one nice catch. You shut down Reed, which they didn't, but then, you still got Kellen out there. And if you don't shut down Reed, well, you're going to throw it to Reed every time.
Again, as a DC, man, it's pick your poison.
Yeah.
And again, some of these teams that play us, if you play all the 3-by-1 formations the same way with man, I think at some point you'll see Reed have a 12-catch game. At some point we're going to make him do something different, Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, part of that is you're working all your stuff. You don't really. Maybe only Jim Ned game did you feel like you're in distress for a little bit, so it's really just smooth sailing. Let's do what we do and let's work our scheme.
Yeah. I'm going to mention one thing before we move, take a break and move.
TK.
No, but go ahead.
I don't know, just that another.
No, I was going to mention it, but I was going to mention the punter, but go ahead. Yeah, no, let's talk about Clinesville.
That was a great 2-minute drive. Just offense, great job, getting the ball down the field and, again, that drive started, you're thinking touchdown. Me and Launderholm, I'm like, dude, if you can get it close to the 20, we'll let him try it. And, now I told Tyler after the game, like, dude, you may messed up. When I sit in there, I'm not even thinking about watching. It's going in, but credit to all those field goal guys. And, again, Levi, Coach Holster had that great fake punt.
Yes. I won. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And, again, Coach, is a huge special teams guy. And again, on the headset, I'm like, dude, if you got it, take it, and, so that obviously stole the possession there. But, Levi is a great punter.
He is.
A lot of people don't know it because, knock on wood, we don't have to punt much, which we hopefully always do, but again, in those tight games, Levi is a flip the field kid, because, he has a cannon.
Yeah, let's talk about his punts, and then I want to talk about that fake punt for a moment. I'm glad you brought that up because I had that on the list and completely brain dumped on it. But Levi, 4 punts, 41.5 average. You'll take that every single game.
Hey, in high school football, 40 yards is huge. There's games like last week. I told Kellen, we're not even blocking for the punt return because the ball's not going to get to you. And I was worried it was going to hit one of our return guys. And people, probably think that's crazy, but again, when you watch, it's literally sometimes a 20, 21-yard punt. That 40 yards, especially with our defense, if we punt from the 10. If you get us to 50, we should make that stop, and again, that's huge. That 40 yards is a big deal. And again, Levi, I think last year's average was right around that 40 yards.
I believe so, yeah.
For high school, that's really solid stuff, man.
It is. So let's talk fake punt without revealing too much. Does Levi have what's the word I'm looking for? Independence, discretion. That if he sees nobody outside to take off.
In that shift, he does. And again, that's something Coach Holster's kind of cooked up. And and again, we shifted. They didn't really move. And here we go. Where we all knew it was coming. But yeah, it's kind of the RPO game, but it's run punt option.
Right.
Almost. And again, it's just, dude, that's one of those things. If you don't see that at practice or on film, man, you really, you have to kind of work on that. It's just, specials, it's something every school works, but there's always little quirks and, hidden eligible guys in there and stuff, so that you can always steal some plays like that.
So I'll tell you this, the punt before that fake punt, Rob Ray, the color guy who was on the broadcast with me, he said when y'all lined up to punt, he said, there's nobody outside. He said, I wonder if they see that because there's nobody outside. He kept saying that.
I didn't, but Holster must have. So credit to him.
Yeah, because the very next punt, Ray says, hey, watch this. See what happens. And boom, Levi takes off. Was it 21 yards, 20, whatever it was.
First time they drag Ray out of the box like we did Holster.
Well, he's football guy. He did. He saw it. He called it. And I'm like, okay. That's good. Sometimes we're just making conversation, but he saw that right away.
No, and again, Holster's awesome in that he will lock in. I mean, to be honest, I was probably talking a lot of it to Braden about, hey, here's what we're about to do. You know, I just want to make sure our first down call is always straight. You know, so those guys will normally walk by and like, hey, what do we have? You know, so again, I saw the fake punt happen, but you know, I'm trusting those guys that, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
They are.
So overall, season-wise, I mean, you look up and down the stat sheets, and, you know, stats can lie sometimes, but they do tell a pretty good tale. You guys are rushed for 567 total yards, thrown for over 1,000 yards, only 2 picks. Have we even lost a fumble this year? I'm trying to remember, was it one?
You know what? We actually were talking to the coach's office. We fumbled here against early in a scrimmage. I don't want to jinx it.
No. I said that.
I don't think we put it on the ground. I think we had a bad snap kind of in one of our shotguns, first game of the year.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
But I don't think we've had a runner put it on the ground, which is, again, it's football. It's competitive sport. At some point, you know, some of those are going to not go your way. But it's definitely something we talk about in practice. You know, they run back to the huddle, Hank. You know, there's things that we've done. I hope to we just always want to be conscious of that.
Right. And then defensively, what, 7 interceptions? 7. I was trying to look it up earlier. 7 picks, I think. And then
well, that's something we're trying to do more ourselves.
Yeah.
We only recovered 1 fumble. Now we've caused a couple of more, and like, to be honest, we had one the other night that I thought they messed the call up on, which they tend to do when it's 35-0. You know, tied up. And again, you know the kind of as a coach, but you know, we definitely, you know, my backers, you know, it's led by Quady Brayton. You know, that they're always talking about working that punch, and you know, it is. I mean, turnovers, #1 factor winning, losing games. You know, so it's something that when you need it most, I hope we win.
Yep. Well, great game. We're going to take a quick break. Watch the highlights. Check them out. We'll come back after this and talk about next week's opponent. You're watching the Hawk Insider Coach Craig Slaughter, brought to you by Texas Bank.
At Texas Bank, we believe in the power of relationships. Our roots are our customers, the lifeblood of our business. We're more than just a bank. We're your trusted financial partner, committed to building lasting connections and providing personalized service that exceeds your expectations. From helping you achieve your financial goals to supporting you through life's changes, we're here for you every step of the way. Experience the difference of banking with people who truly care.
friendship be.
Welcome back to the Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter. I'm Russ Howard, brought to you by Texas Bank. Coach, so this week, one of the biggest, especially in Texas high school football, one of the biggest games of the year, and that's homecoming.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the opponent and whatnot.
You know, the one thing you worry about homecoming last week, when we left the field Friday, I was told the kids, there's all kinds of things happening. There's dress up days, and, the number one event for us is Friday night's football game. It's another chance for us to play sharp, look sharp. We expect a monster crowd, back at home. Sweetwater definitely has some really good players in the perimeter. I mean, some really good receivers that can put you in a bind. It'll be, and again, an element of speed that you won't see a lot. Very veteran quarterback. He's a junior that started since he was a freshman. So tons of experience. Again, like defensively, if you're a football guy, you'll see all kinds of hides about our coverage and stuff. But we're trying to confuse that kid, and I don't ever want him on the line of scrimmage too comfortable with what he's doing. They do a ton of RPO stuff, that's a modern day triple option. It may be an inside run, it may be a vertical route, it may be some type of flat route, but they offensively, I think they'll put you in some binds for sure.
You mentioned the RPO, the triple option, and just kind of a sidelight, but just kind of real quick. The modern day spread offense to me is just another version of the wishbone offense. But the wishbone, you're just looking for space.
That's what it's probably in today's the way you can't block the same and stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit easier way to get the ball in space. Because again, back in the day, your receivers could go chop guys and all kinds of things. And the rules had changed, so it's a different way to get the ball on the perimeter.
Yep.
And again, it's you can be a little lenient sometimes with that lineman downfield, but it's, that quarterback has that decision. I know Reed's like the first touchdown at Jim Ned, that was 100% RPO, and all those guys came downhill, and all of a sudden, Reed's right behind that linebacker level. And, it's just, again, especially with our line, the way we run the ball, it's good stuff.
So I have to ask you this, and I seldom bring this up, but didn't you coach at Sweetwater before?
Yeah, hey, several years ago, I think it was 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah, too long ago about those kids. Nobody will know me.
Does that, knowing that you used to coach there, does that add anything to the week as far as motivation?
Maybe if I had just come from there last year or something again, it's so far removed, and man, this is year 9 for me in Wall, man. I'm dyed in the blood, Wall Hawk.
Yeah, you are.
So, I just, most of these kids and families, that I've got to know in the community, if somebody thinks back on Craig Slaughter's coaching career, I know in mine, Wall Hawk, Hawk was just the awesome teams I've been able to be a part of, and, the awesome teams that I don't get a chance to lead. But, I don't really think the kids, some of them probably don't even know. Or don't even know. So.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: you have more than 9 years because your wife is a wall hawk for life.
Born and raised.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about homecoming itself. I talk a lot about the crowd, and I talk a lot about the family atmosphere and that kind of stuff here at Wall Hawk Stadium. But is there just a different attitude, a different atmosphere for homecoming itself?
I think I know our crowd will be monster. I know our student body will be insane. We've definitely had some of those diehard fans, the parents fans, but even some of those students went to Monahans. That student section will be packed out, having a great time on Friday. And again, I don't really think you notice home and away as much till you play 3 in a row away. I just know our kids will be. We give out decals for our helmets, and the last line, I hadn't even read it, but it was, if you're excited to be back in Wall, Texas, come get a helmet sticker. And some of them probably didn't read that line, but they, man, it's just, again, it's such a awesome program, such a great place to be, and I think our kids will be on this level on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite games of the season. Of course, I like them all, but I love homecoming just because the attitude seems to be a little bit more intense.
Oh, never know. There's people coming back. It may be the one time they see the Hawks play a year. And I do think streaming has changed things. Some people tune in, but I love when it's 2-3 deep on the fence.
Yeah.
That's just a special deal. And again, I don't think that happens in most programs. It's programs that are supported and that are successful. And And I think Law's supported not because it's successful, because they're supporting the kids. I think they'd support you pretty dang good if you were 2-2. They're just that they're going to support their kids in their program.
I'll tell you this, I have seen it, and I thoroughly believe it, that even when this team is not doing as well as it is right now last few years, this stadium is still packed, regardless if it's homecoming or not. So this town, this area supports these Hawks.
Oh, again, I get texts from guys I coached their kids 6-7 years ago, and it's so special. I love that, just, dude, y'all are doing so, I just, they're keeping up, they're watching. Again, a lot of places, I just don't think it's like that, but this Wall community, where they support their kids and their programs, and again, football specific. And I'm excited. The kids are excited. Town's excited. We're in the discussion for as good a team as there is, and we're working our tail off. And again, regardless of these next handful of opponents, if they're amazing or not, we are working for those big games, down the road. We're having a night practice tonight, and I told the kids today, we may finish at 10 o'clock tonight after this pep rally. We're in the weight room at 6, and I was like, guys, I debated giving you off. I decided no, Canadians not taking off. It's just, just trying to picture December. And I think it's such an important part of keeping your kids healthy, is the work you do. Yeah. So, we're going to 10 o'clock to see you at 6 in the morning, boys.
Yeah, no. So looking forward to it this weekend. Don't forget, homecoming is this weekend. We'd love to see you watch it, but why don't you come out here to the stadium, watch it here, go home and rewatch it on the volume down, but watch it on the replay. You can see it anytime on YouTube. But Coach, want to wish you good luck this weekend, and congrats on the great start. And we hope to see it continue.
Go Hawks.
And I think we will see it continue.
Let's do it.
You've been watching the Hawk Insider with Coach Craig Slaughter right here on Concho Sports Network, brought to you by Texas Bank. We'll see you this Friday night, 7 p.m. Right?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock with Sweetwater. The Mustangs come to town. 3 straight road games are now in the books. We're coming back home. We'll see you then. Take care. God bless.
At Texas Bank, we believe in the power of relationships. Our roots are our customers, the lifeblood of our business. We're more than just a bank. We're your trusted financial partner, committed to building lasting connections and providing personalized service that exceeds your expectations. From helping you achieve your financial goals to supporting you through life's changes, we're here for you every step of the way. Experience the difference of banking with people who truly care.